Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishma Simmy Schaer, live from a hotel in Chicago. Today, Be'ezer Hashem, it's 4 days in the Omer, and by the time you see this, it might be a different day. We'll put it up real quickly, right over here. The plan is for me to give 4 shiurim today. 2 on Daf Yud and 2 on Daf Yud Aleph, 1 in English, 1 in Hebrew in each Daf. This right now is the second shiur of the day. With me in the room, I can't say their names. I could say Rabbi Gluck, and I could say my good friend Barry. This is Barry's first time doing a Daf ever. I'm not going to say his last name. Those who know. Those who don't know. So we have a phenomenal Daf today. It's a Daf of Agadita, just stories and Musar, and it's not your typical Daf. It's a good one to start out with. I just want to show you, let's see what we got over here. So yesterday I showed this picture of a guy doing the Daf with us on a boat, but now we didn't realize it's one of our own from the Vesperish. His name is Elazar Kapach, and he won this cruise on a small yacht in Israel because he did a siyum on one of the prakim with us. He won it in the raffle. So that's why they were showing me this picture. I didn't have. We have a beautiful sunrise over here. Aryeh Simon, also big part of the shir. Here it is. Volume, margin.
As the sun comes up over the Black Sea, best time to be doing the daf. Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
So I'm just going to read this over here because it's easier. I'll turn this around. Dear Rabbi Dr. Eli Stefansky, thanks a ton for treating people suffering from Gemara trauma. I myself had severe Gemara trauma, and your sheer mamish gave me a new look at learning. I was wondering if perhaps MDY can do something for davening trauma. It would help thousands of people. It would help us win against the Yishmael who pray 5 times a day. It'd be a big chizuk to Klal Yisrael. Thanks for all you do. A good moyed, AT from Tom's River, New Jersey. So yeah, we learn Torah, and through Torah you see everything about tefillah. We talk a lot about tefillah. Very interesting letter. There's a follow-up to a different letter that I received from Ephraim. I think his name is Reese. He's a rabbi in a conservative shul, and he does the daf. And he gives us an update here on his life and those boys that he got to do the daf for mesechta Makkos. So 10 boys, he says in this letter, 10 boys from the conservative shul are learning mesechta Makkos with us. It's amazing. Dear Rabbi Stefansky, thank you for your tireless hard work. I realize how much Daf Yomi has changed me through a difficult few weeks. The week before Pesach, my brother passed away after a difficult battle with brain cancer. Throughout Shiva, I felt an additional loss while not being able to open my Gemara and learn. I get strength knowing that the 10 boys I, with Fischl's tremendous support, convinced to join the join for Makkos, were beginning to learn while I couldn't. So Fischl, as a lot of you know, Fischl gave $250 per person, whoever does mesechta Makkos with MDY. Up to 500 people, I think it was. So they joined, and they're doing it even though he was supposed to be there in the beginning to help him out. He wasn't able to be there, and they started it. On Shabbat afternoon, after I got up from Shiva, I jumped back into the daf to catch up on the pages of Makkot I had missed. Baruch I will learn what I missed from the end of Sanhedrin at the end of my brother Shloshim to have a siyum in his memory. During Shiva and after Yontif, several people have reached out to me from the MDY Kehila to comfort me or check in on me. I gained more than Torah learning, which would be enough from being a part of this community, and for that, I have tremendous hakarat tov. Now, being able to learn the daf over Shiva gave me an appreciation for the blessing I receive every day by learning. Thank you for all your hard work. Moadim l'simcha, Ephraim. P.S. Additionally, I'm proud to share that the students from the conservative shul I wrote you about last time have been learning Makkot every day and are well on their way to completing their first siyum on Gemara, which is amazing. That's why I like reading this conservative rabbi's emails, because it gives me a lot of chizuk that there are conservative kids out there that are learning Gemara and are making a change in their lives by learning Gemara. And I'm very proud that they are part of the shir. What else do we have here? Or we don't? Oh. Did I remind Ilam? Serious Eimer? I guess. Now, I do have to do the sponsors, your local sponsors. And now we'll take a break for the local sponsors. The mesechta sponsored by anonymous Hatzlacha B'Parnasa Yisroel Cherns in honor of my chavrisa Shmueli Unger by the Szlafrok Family in memory of their uncle Simmy Schaer, Simcha Yisrael ben Naftali Tzvi A anonymous. May our learning bring us closer to one another and to Hashem. Monthly sponsors: Hatzlacha B'Parnasa, Birevach for Baruch Nissim ben Shoshana Leah by Yoni Klestzick, Refuah Shelamah, Yehudit Brayna, Revkah. Kollel sponsor month. Thank you to Rebelli's wife, who's a certain individual in this room. I'm not going to mention his name. His wife is my wife's best friend, and kids, they speak, I think, almost every day on the phone, even though my wife lives in Israel and his wife lives in America. They speak every day. And kids, for the great sacrifice they make, allowing him to spread Torah to the masses. Daily sponsors: Nissim Smith, leading nishmas my mother's 50 yard side, Bela Yenta Bas Rebbe Yisrael. Mitzvah motivators and the Golden Doves. Kudos to the anonymous empty wire who surreptitiously smuggled 3 mitzvah motivators, 2 on their bar mitzvah, for a quick meet and greet with Rebelli as a reward for an impeccable run through Sanhedrin and marching on through Makkos. This is very true. I got to meet 2 very special kids, special in a real way, special. They learned the entire mesechta Sanhedrin and learning Makkos, and I got to meet them, Baruch Hashem. Daily sponsors: Mark Ashkenazi, Aryeh Liba, and Shimmy Leibowitz. Aryeh Liba and Shimmy Leibowitz are our 2 English editors. Mark Ashkenazi is just plain old Mark Ashkenazi. That's behind the scene right now, making sure that the shir is online. Happy birthday to our dear Chaver and Tzaddik, Nister, Reb Ezra. Thanks for all that you do for Klal Yisrael. The Schusim should bring you much shefa bracha. I owe Reb Ezra a tremendous chavrisa for a lot that he does for MDY and the organization. I don't know if I know I met him, I think, but I don't know what he looks like. I mean, if I met him in the street, I probably wouldn't realize he's the guy that I owe so much chavrisa to. So happy birthday to you. I hope what's going on. I hope nobody else hops. Weekly sponsor, anonymous, in honor of my first completed mesechta doing Daf Yomi. MDY Kids, monthly, Kinnovations, Chus, for Official, Chonan, Akiva, and Rivki, and Mrs. Stefansky, Art of the Month. We're almost done. Refuah Shelamah, Yonatan ben Basheva Bracha, in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi, for all the work to do. Mark, you're mentioned like more times than me. I'm getting a little jealous over here. Rabbi Yisai, here we are. We're going to do, we are on Daf Tes Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. We're talking about gullus. Gullus is when somebody kills somebody inadvertently by mistake. Reminds me of a story that a lot of us New Yorkers, and you, Barry, would probably remember this. Remember John Gotti? And John Gotti, the story goes that his next door neighbor ran over John Gotti's son by mistake. I just read up on it today because I remember the story. I wanted to see if it's a real story because I remember it when I was like, I was maybe 15 years old. It was in the 80s sometime. And maybe I only heard about it when I was 15, maybe it happened before. But the story goes that this neighbor ran over John Gotti's kid and killed him. And John Gotti took his family to Florida to do shiva over there, the mafia shiva. And this guy somehow disappeared and was never found, nothing. They say they chopped him up with a chainsaw, and then they dissolved his body in some acid. Whatever they did it mafia style. And I remember thinking, wow, this John Gotti is a chaya. He's mamish a terrible person. But the Gemara here says that when somebody kills somebody b'shoigeg, inadvertently, that the family members have the right to go ahead and avenge his death. They kill him. This is in the Torah. Unless he runs away to a thing called Ir Miklat. He runs away to a special city that protects him. Especially a non-Jew is chayiv misa, even b'shoigeg. So maybe John Gotti wasn't so off. So says the Gemara, v'shilashta. This is what we had yesterday. Let me just show you. This is the picture of yesterday. The Torah says that there's 6 cities. In fact, the Torah says in the same pasuk there's 42 other ones. The Gemara is going to make a distinction, but these are the 6 main Ari Miklot. You can see the river running right through. One side is Eretz Yisrael, the side closer to the ocean is Eretz Yisrael. The other side is Ever Hayarden. It's the Chutz La'aretz side. So Vishilashta Shiu Mishulashim. When the Torah says Vishilashta, you should make thirds, they should be a third. What does that mean? So let me grab a laser over here for a second. Here's the laser. Okay, this right over here is the border of Eretz Yisrael. So from this point until Chevron, then you have Chevron doesn't count, is the same distance as from Chevron to Shechem. Then Shechem doesn't count. Then from Shechem to Kedesh is the same distance as the other ones. And from Kedesh to the border of Israel or Eretz Yisrael, so what do we have? We have 4 empty spaces that don't have Ir Miklat. The Ir Miklat is Chevron, Shechem, Kedesh. They should all be equal distance. From Kedesh that we just said, from this point to the northern point, Tzafon is the same distance. Ask the Gemara a bomb question. Why is it that in Chutz La'aretz, look, there's 3 in Chutz La'aretz, Goler and Mod Betzer? Why? There's only 2.5 Shvatim in this side, on this side of the Jordan. Most of Klal Yisrael, 9.5 Shvatim, live on this side. So how does it make sense that they have equal amount of Ir Miklots, refuge cities, to save people? Amar Abaye, I'll tell you why. There's many murderers in Gilad on the other side of the Yarden. The Chsiv, Daf Yomi Amud Aleph. First words, the Chsiv, Gilad Kiris Parli Oven Akuvim Dam. By the way, I'm going to have to pick up speed here a little bit faster than usual because of the great amount of words that we have in our daf over here. Just to say it, and even in Hebrew I went over by like 4 minutes or so. Hopefully I don't do too much worse than that, because Hebrew doesn't have all the sponsors that we have in English. Gilad Kiris Parli Oven Akuvim, it says the word Gilad Kiris Parli Midam, a lot of blood. Ma'ikuv Midam, Amar Belazar show you Eikvim L'Harin Nefashis. They'll sit there and conspire to kill people. Says Gemara, check this out. Okay. Now, this happens fast. If, let's say, you're on the bottom of the screen, look what happens. It'll take you see those 4 squares? You see the guy running? One more time. I like this, but it happens too fast. Here he goes. He starts running. Let's say he had to go 100 miles from the border of Eretz Yisrael until he got to Hebron. But if he was anywhere else in Eretz Yisrael, he'd only have to go, let's say, half the distance. At most, half that distance. Anybody that's on the border is going to have to go 100 miles. Anybody that's in the middle of Eretz Yisrael, the maximum he'll have to go is 50 miles. Because there's a place above him and a place below him. And he could go here. We just continue? No. I don't know. It didn't. If you look closely, you can see it happening. You see those guys? They run. They only have to go 50 miles. Says Gemara, Amar Abaye, B'Shechem na meshchicha roitzchim. Did I say that? Yeah. Amar show you. The middle one, Shechem, is closer because now the Shchicha Roitzchim, there's a lot of murders of the Chsiv ish gedudim chaver kohanim derech yiratzchu Shechema. So Shechem, Roitzchim, a lot of Roitzchim. Now the Gemara just goes on. If you don't get one thing, that's the beauty of Daf Yomi. There's a new sugi every 2 minutes or less. My chaver kohanim. Why does the Torah say that these kohanim are like killers? What are kohanim killers? Omer Belazar, Shahayu mischabrim laharig nefashos kekohanim alalu shemischabrim lachlik trumas bebeis hagranis. We have a nice picture. Oh, whoa! What just happened? Somebody's on my computer. Hold on, let me get it. What's going on? You do it. Thank you. Basic awareness is where the Kohanim go to get their food from the people that separate the Truma. So if you're a Yisrael, you have 100 fruit, you're going to give 2% to the Kohen. Usually 2%. Some people give 1%, some give 4%, but about 2%. You have to go to the threshing floors to where everybody gathers and they do their grinding and everything. So you go there. It's like literally like in the pizza shop in New York on Motzei Pesach. Everybody's running, trying to grab a slice of pizza. There's a lot of pushing, and I want, you give me, you gave me last time, you owe me, the whole thing. So that's why the Torah says, my Chaver Kohanim means, like at the threshing floor, where they go crazy over the food, so too these people are so into killing. They're like the mafia in New York. They're constantly conniving ways of how to kill another guy. As the Gemara, why are you telling me there's 6 cities in our chart over here? We only have 6. It says in the Pasuk there's 42 more. There's a few differences. The Gemara brings one difference over here, that the 6 main ones, if the guy, the murderer, let's say a guy was in a car accident, he killed somebody by mistake, and it's not a bad mistake. He wasn't texting while he was driving. It was a pretty decent mistake. It was inadvertent, so he has to go to Ir Miklat. Let's say he doesn't know he's in Ir Miklat, and the father of the guy that got killed finds him there. He says, "What are you doing here?" And he realizes he doesn't know that it's Ir Miklat. He's allowed to kill him, but if it's in the 6 main cities, he won't be allowed to kill him. This is also different. The Gemara is going to talk about that you have to pay rent in the other 42 cities. In these 6 cities, you don't have to pay rent. Okay, different. There's differences. Halal called ben ladas ben shaladas, whether you're aware of it or not aware of it. Halal ladas called if the shaladas any called you have to be aware. V'chevron asks the Gemara, if we go back to our chart, right? One of the cities is Chevron. The bottom left, the one in Eretz Yisrael on the bottom is Chevron. Says the Gemara, Chevron is a Ir Miklat too. V'ksiv ayidin lekalev is Chevron. Yeshua gave Kollel, one of the miraglim, the good one. He gave him Chevron. Kasher diber Moshe. Moshe said he should get Chevron. Amar Aryeh parvado. What Kollel got was the outskirts of Chevron. He didn't get the inside. The Chsiv veis de Aryeh veis chatzirel nasal Kollel ben Yifuna. Okay, the chatzirel, the outskirts. Ask Gemara v'kedesh Ir Miklat. Going back to Kedesh. Where's Kedesh? All the way at the top of Eretz Yisrael. Is that Ir Miklat? V'ksiv or mitzvah atzidim tzer v'chemas rakas v'kineres. V'kedesh v'adrei v'ein chatzar. V'tanya or malalu these Ir Miklats and oizem like tirim ktanav like krach mudalim. Kedesh is a very large city. It has a wall around it. It says that an Ir Miklat shouldn't be a large city. It should be a medium city. Elias Benenis. It shouldn't be a small village, like Krach Mudalim, not a giant city. Elias Benenis, something in between. Why? We're going to see in a second. Yeah, you're right. The Kedesh that you're familiar with, the wall, that's not. We're talking about another one. There's a smaller one. Or Ravashi, I'll bring you another example. Saleikum Vakar the Saleikum. Saleikum is a very large city with a wall. Some people say it's even Tzfat. And then there's a smaller Tzfat on the side. It's called Akra the Saleikum, the one, right next to Tzfat. Gufa. Arma Lalu. So let's understand what we just read. These cities, Ir Miklat should not be a giant city, it shouldn't be a small city. Why? Because we don't want a lot of people there. If there's a lot of people, then there'll be more of a chance of the relatives killing the murderer, and we don't want it to be too small. We need the guy to be able to live. We need a water source. And if there's no water source, you should bring them water. Once you go into the R Miklat, Rabbi said, you cannot leave. It's also for you to leave. You have to stay there all the way till the Kohen Gadol dies, as we're going to see. If the Kohen Gadol does die, the person could spend the rest of his life in that place. So make sure he has water. You need marketplaces. You need a lot of people there. Why, says Rashi, something very interesting, because you don't want the family of the murder of the victim to come and kill the Goyal, make it like a little war. You need people to protect. If the people are few, you add, there's less houses over there, people inside, outside, but the bottom line is, you have to add people, you give them, not just people, a few Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim, you have all the good aliyahs, you have people duchadim, it's all good. You can't sell, you can't have a Walmart selling hunting gear and guns, like they have in Chicago and a lot of places in America. You just walk into the store and buy a gun. Why? Because then the relative, when you come into the city, there's a gate, and they're going to make you go through that metal detector. And they're going to find that you have a gun on you. They pat you down in those days. They don't want people coming in with swords and stuff. But if you could purchase a sword in the city, then you didn't get anything. You'll go into the store, buy a sword, and then kill the victim, kill the murderer. So we don't want that to happen either. And also, hunting gear is very dangerous. If you kill an elephant, you can kill a human being with it also. Chacham say you could sell this stuff in the cities. Do not make it hunting grounds where you could just put nets out. Oh, I have a Gishmak video. I should have showed it. You know what? Maybe Mark or somebody, Dave, I don't know if he's listening, could tell the Israeli, the editors, to add this. Kobe should add this over here at minute 22, right when it says, talks about like 5 lines from where it becomes very wide. Check this out, Rabbi Isai. Just this cool video of ropes. Why not? This is how you make a rope, a very big rope. Do you ever know how to make a rope? Here it is. It's very geschmack. You learn a lot of stuff in this year. They have a very long building. That's how long the rope could be. So once you make that rope, now you take those 3 ropes and you make it one. It's geschmack. Look at this. I wonder if they have a better way of doing it today. Anyway, that's how you make a rope. Fine. You don't want a lot of ropes, a lot of nets, because you don't want the relatives of the one that died to come and kill him in the Ir Miklat. Obviously, if he gets killed in Ir Miklat, Shkoyach Kobe, I see that you're listening, so Givaldik. You just throw in this video on chart 23. You don't want, so it's the Goyal Adam who kills the murderer in the Ir Miklat is going against halacha. He's wrong. They'll kill him for doing that. Where do you see this in the pasuk? He shall go to one of these cities and live. You should do something that will cause him to live. Make sure that he's able to live over there, nobody will kill. And that throws us into a beautiful Gemara, and I got the Gemara Tana. Talmud Shagola, a student who killed somebody, Rabbi, a Megalim Rabbi Yimoy. His Rebbe must go to that city with him. Why? Shenemar v'choy, you must live. Avid lei midit hevelei chayusa. Give something to the student that will give him life. Refuah Ber, oh, I just remembered his name. Refuah Ber says, the famous saying, he says, Torah for a Jew is not, he has a life, a beautiful life, and we're going to add a beautiful thing to it called Torah. Like, we're going to add Pesach to his beautiful life. No. Torah is life. It's like saying, breathing air is a very special thing. It means a lot to me. No, without air, you die within 25 seconds. Without Torah, you have no life. So here's a Rambam. I just want to show you this amazing Rambam. The Rambam actually talks about this Gemara. And he says, Talmud Shagala, this is exactly what we're learning right now. A Talmud who has to go into the Ir Miklat, Megalim Rabbi Imoy, you should go with his Rebbe. Why? Shenever v'chai, you should live. So highlighted in red, Asay lo Kadesh Yichya, you should give him life. And a life of somebody that's a smart person, a person who's learned, and somebody's yearning to learn, without learning, kemisa chashuvim. The Rambam says that a person who doesn't learn Torah is considered like a dead man. You have to give him life. It's not just sustenance, water. Here, you gave him water, like we said before. Make sure there's a water source. That's one way of living. But you have to give him a Rebbe to learn Torah. Otherwise, he's not alive, says the Rambam. So he says, be very careful. Don't teach inappropriate students because they are going to end up killing somebody by mistake. And we're going to see the Gemara in Amud Beis, how that happens and why that happens. And then they're gonna force you to go into Golos with them. You're gonna have to uproot your whole family. You're a Rebbe. You might have to move to another city. You live in Bet Shemesh. They say, no, you gotta go to Hebron now for 45 years because you have a student there. So be careful who you teach. You want to make sure that you're teaching people are not killing people by mistake. And it has to do because usually Hashem makes the person that kills by mistake is the person that deserves to go to Golos. What if a Rebbe has to go to Golos? He killed somebody by mistake. You uproot the whole yeshiva, bring the whole yeshiva with him. Eini asked the Gemara, how could a Rebbe have such a thing? Torah saves a person from bad stuff. Shenemar as Betzer Bamidbar. First it says you should go to Golos, then it says Torah. So Torah saves you from the bad stuff. How did a Rebbe teaching students ever come to a position where he's in a bad situation? The Torah would save him. I'll give you a mashal. Let's say there's a Rebbe who learns on a typical day, learns 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours a day. One day he decides, he has to do a mitzvah. He has to take his kids to a Bulls game, let's say. Let's say, I'm just throwing out an example. He has to take his kids to a basketball game. So while he's in the basketball, he's not Isaac and Torah. At that moment that he's in the basketball game, a bad thing could happen to him. Yeah, he says, but I was in a basketball game. I was in the middle of learning in between by timeouts. No. But during the basketball game, that's when they could get you. When you're learning Torah, you can't get you. But at a moment that you're mevatel, you go on your phone and you look at the news, whatever it is, poof, that's the time. So for that, the Rebbe should go to Golos. Be careful. Or that's why it happened to begin with. What does the Ir Mikla do? It makes sure that what does Torah do? Torah protects you from the Malach HaMavis. When a person learns Torah, can't kill him. You need me to hold your baby now? I'm a professional with her. Guy has twins, and I see him trying to daven Shemona Esrei. I'm not going to say his whole name, but Jake. Jake has twin girls, and I saw yesterday he was in davening. He's like holding this baby. He's a good davener. He's a really good davener, but he just can't daven with a baby on you. So I asked him while he's davening. I said, "You want me to take her?" So I took her for 5 minutes, and she's a great baby. She didn't cry, nothing. She was happy. She actually smiled. But the poor guy is probably, since these babies were born, right? Probably holding the babies nonstop. The twins, he can't get away. When one's up, the other one's sleeping. I don't know. He has a good babysitter. He told me that she's there all day. So Baruch Hashem. We'll see. I have no problem. We can make it a matzav. I'll hold the baby during the shir. I have no problem. Says Gemara, listen to this. No, we said this already. So Torah saves you from the Malach HaMavis, but maybe from this relative or whatever it is, he could kill you. Says the Gemara story. This is Agadata. Barry, don't think that all of Shas is like this. This is Geshmak, a lot of stories. Sometimes it gets a little tougher. Sometimes some people don't even like this. It's too much stories. They like the good stuff, the lumdas. Rav Chizda was learning in the yeshiva, and the Malach HaMavis came to kill him. He couldn't come close. You know who else they say the story about? Who do they say the story about? David HaMelech. Word for word. The Malchamavas couldn't kill David HaMelech. This story is about Rav Chisda. Why couldn't they kill him? He wouldn't stop talking in Torah. When you talk in Torah, Malchamavas can't get in and kill. So what did he do? He came up with a great trick. He sat on a tree over there, on a cedar tree. Poka arza. So it made imagine lightning strikes a cedar tree. The sound is insane. Boom! I heard a guy say yesterday, he was in near Oz, and he heard a tremendous bomb. He says, but I'm used to it. There's bombs every day in Gaza. We're just a few feet away. Heard a bomb. Turns out that an Israeli plane was flying above, and a missile fell off the plane by mistake and hit this Israeli yishuv right on the border of Gaza, and it exploded. I saw a picture. The crater was unreal. It was huge. It was a 300 kilo. So you're talking about a 650-pound bomb or something. It made if there was a house there, it would have been completely demolished is not the word. There was a hole in the ground, I don't know, 50 feet long or something, like something 30 feet, I don't know what it was. I mean, the picture looked crazy. The amount of, and nobody was there, Baruch Hashem, nobody was harmed. So anyway, I have no idea what this has to do with the sugya. So says the Gemara, he made a big noise. That's what noise. So Yosef Arza made a big noise. Made a big noise. So he was like, what just happened? What just happened? He stopped learning. Poof, he died. I had a little bit of an argument with my chavrisa today. I told my chavrisa that I believe that Rav Chisda could have controlled himself not to look. Because if the Malchamavas did something that was impossible to continue learning, that's not fair. You can't smack a person or close his mouth shut, you're not learning now. Can't hit you in the head and say, you didn't learn for 1 second, so I could kill you. So he did something that was so loud that a regular person turns around to look. But if he wanted to, he could have controlled himself and not look and continued learning, then he wouldn't have killed him. I think. He says no. He doesn't agree with me. I said the same thing about David HaMelech. I said it then probably also. So we go back to this picture, yeah? We're going back to this picture. Why is it that Betzer, look at Betzer, it's all the way in the bottom right. Why is it mentioned first in the Torah? We see throughout the entire Shas, over and over and over and over. Everything's midah connected midah. You act a certain way, Hashem acts back in the same exact way that you act. Shenemar. Reuven is the first one that came to save Yosef. Shenemar vayishma Reuven v'yatzilen miyadam. He threw Yosef into a pit because he didn't want to kill him. He wanted to save him from the brothers. You were the first to save. I'm putting you first in the Torah to save people that need to run away from the family members. You're the first Aryeh Miklat. Rabbi Shmueli says, I want you to make sunlight. I want you to make beautiful something nice for the murderers. We're talking about inadvertent murderers. You already did so. You already built these beautiful cities for them. A person who loves money will never be satiated with money. Give a guy, a multimillionaire, guy that just made $100 million in a deal, he wants $200 million deal. And whoever loves a lot, loy tvua, loy with the aleph, he will not have wheat. If you want a lot, you won't have wheat. So the Gemara Darshan is completely different. Oyev kesef le'yiz ba'kesef is referring to Zeh Moshe Rabbeinu. It's referring to Moshe Rabbeinu. He knows, like we said in the Mishnah, in order for these 6 cities, in order for these cities to go into effect and to work, you need all 6. 3 alone is not enough. So what Moshe Rabbeinu did before Klal Yisrael went into Yisrael was nothing. The 3 that he made were just preparation, because they wouldn't work until you made 3 in Eretz Yisrael, and Klal Yisrael wasn't in Eretz Yisrael yet. That's what we got. But he said, mitzvah shabal yadi akemenu. I have a mitzvah, let me do it. The famous Chavetz Chaim says in this Gemara, not that he is famous, but this line of his is very famous. We say in a siyum, Anu ratzim ve'im ratzim, we run, they run. Anu ratzim u'mekabim sachar, we run and we get paid. Ve'im ratzim ve'im mekabim sachar, we have 69 people on Zoom live, so shalom aleichem to all the people that are live on Zoom. A good to you, thank you for being here, it's a big chizuk, because I know that I'm not just talking to 2 people, I'm talking to at least 70 here, 70 people now, and more. Okay. So we say that those who don't learn Torah, they run and run and run, and they don't make money. And we run and run and run, and we do make money. Not money, sechar, we get awarded. Ask the Chofetz Chaim, what do you mean? Everybody who goes to work and runs and works, everybody makes money. And you get sechar, okay, why are you different? This is the famous line that he says. He says, if you're a lawyer, and you work and work and work and work, but you don't bring a case, you don't finish what you did. You worked for 3 months, but you didn't bring a product. You can't go to court with whatever you did, you didn't finish. If he talks about a guy that makes a shoemaker, or a carpenter. A carpenter, he worked really, really hard on a project, and it busted. It fell apart. On the last day, it fell off the table and smashed on the floor. He can't go to the customer and say, listen, I worked really hard, I want you to pay me. I deserve something. He'll get 0. When a person learns Torah and he doesn't have anything, he learns a daf, and a lot of people say, I learned the whole daf, I don't understand half of it. It went in one ear, went in the other ear, it was so fast, blah, 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 blah. But you coming and showing up, you get awarded. That's what the Torah says here. That's what we say at Asiyum. Anu amelim, we work hard, umekal musachar, we get schar for not even having anything to show for it, for nothing. Says the Chofetz Chaim on this Gemara, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't accomplish anything. He built 3 cities that are there to how do you say liklot, to when you do a klita, when you make a aliyah, they collect you. Okay, they're there to absorb the murderers, but you can't absorb today. It's going to happen after he dies. Doesn't matter. You get schar for doing what the Rebbeinu Shalom said. He said, make the 3 cities, even though it doesn't work. You get schar. Let's understand the next part of the pasuk in a drasha type of way. The simple pshat is, if you like a lot, you don't get anything. But the Gemara learns it differently. Not a loy with an aleph, but loy with a vav. To you is the wheat. That what? Who could teach the masses? The person who knows a lot of Torah. Who's the one that's going to utter the greatness of Hashem, the strength of Hashem? He'll let everybody hear all the praises. The person who is able and knows a lot of Torah. The Meramshik told the Chassam Sofer, he's not saying shiurim anymore because he heard from the Chassam Sofer. They have to know all of Torah, and you have to be holding in a very high level of Musar in order to give somebody Musar. So the Chassam Sofer said, not true. If the people want to hear it, then you're allowed to say it. And that's my heter, even though I'm not holding, but I heard that people want to hear it, so I say it. Who, the person who loves Tamid Chachamim, even though he himself is not, loitfu, at the end of the day, he'll have, be zeicha to have sons and son-in-laws that are Tamid Chachamim. So Yahweh Rabbanai Barabba, Birevach Berei Rabba, and Chacham said, oh, that's exactly Rabba Berei Rabba, who loved Tamid Chachamim, so he had sons that are Tamid Chachamim. Simin Ashi Lilmoid, Ravina Lamed. We have the 2 people that wrote the Gemara, Rav Ashi and Ravina. One said it's referring to learning, and one is to teach. Rav Ashi Omar Kolahev Lilmoid. He teaches with other people, learns with other people. Kolahev Lilmoid Behamoin Leitfu. Vaynu Dam Rabbi Yosi Bereb Chanina. Person who loves to learn, he'll have he'll have success with his children. With the Hainu Dam Rabbi Yosi Bereb Chanina Ma'idach Siv Cherev El Abad V'Noyalo. A person who learns by himself, Cherev is a sword, to the person who's by himself, V'Noyalo will become foolish. This is a sword on the necks of those who hate Talmid Chachamim. That's a nice way of saying Talmid Chachamim. A Talmid Chacham who learns by himself, he is deserving of a sword. You shouldn't be learning by yourself. Why? Because when you learn by yourself, you can make a lot of mistakes, and you need a chavrisa to help you out and to correct you when you make a mistake. If you don't have a chavrisa, you can make mistakes. I was learning this Gemara with my chavrisa, so I said, okay, a lot of people ask me what my daily schedule is, so I learn a lot by myself. Most of the day I learn by myself. The question is, how do you learn by yourself? You're not allowed to learn by yourself. So I have a chavrisa here. So today, because I'm saying 4 shiurim, so I got up a little earlier than usual, and I learned with my chavrisa. Here you can see by shachars. I don't know why it shows it like this. Let me see if I can get it better. No, it's elongated for some reason. But Akoponim, it says here, hour and 40 minutes before shachars. By 8 o'clock, I already got in my hour and 40 minutes with him for 2 daf, Yud and Yud Aleph. So I have, usually what I do is I learn by myself. Those who need to know, I learn by myself. And when I know it well, then I learn with him, and he kind of undoes, any mistake I have, or with that I still have plenty of mistakes, Baruch Hashem, but at least less. Rabengis asked Rabbi Elyashiv. Rabbi Elyashiv is known, he was the Galad Dar. He's known to always learn by himself. He never chavrusas, nothing. So how do you do with the Gemara over here? Rabengis was the Galad Dar when Rabbi Elyashiv was younger. He was a big gadol. He asked him, "Why are you learning by yourself?" Like he met him, he didn't know who he was. So he said, "Faher me," and he fahered him. And Rabbi Elyashiv knew Kalatari Kula inside out. So he said, "Okay, fine. You're someone like you can continue." But they also say that today we have Sfarim, so the Sfarim help you out, especially if you have Art Scroll and mesechta and I don't know what. Ksivhacha v'neyalu means to become silly, stupid. Ksivhasam asher neyalnu v'asher chatanu, that you become foolish. V'leyoid al shechaitin. Not only a Talmid Chacham who learns by himself, he starts sinning. Shenemar v'asher chatanu, asher neyalnu v'asher chatanu. That the foolishness brings you to sin. It says noyalu sorry tzayin over there is talking about also sinning. So you see the foolishness brings to sinning. Ravina Omar. Person who loves, Ravina is talking about not learning but teaching. If you love teaching, you will be successful with Torah. You'll have a lot of Torah. I learned a lot of Torah from my Rebbe, from my Rebbeim, from my friends. I learned more from my friends than from my Rebbeim. And the famous Gemara, I learned from my Talmidim more than anybody. My Talmidim kept me straight. They ask good questions. They make me prepare, etc., etc. Rebbe once said, a true story. He said that when a kid in his class asks him a good question and he doesn't know the answer, so he starts right away. He doesn't know what to do. So he says, "Oh, so Ruvain just asked me a great question." He repeats the question. He hopes that he's going to find an answer. I don't like this because this Rebbe doesn't want to admit that he doesn't know the answer. Then when he doesn't know the answer, then he says, "No, you hear the question. Does anybody have an answer here?" He's hoping somebody in the class will help him out. Then when that doesn't work, he says, "Listen, whoever comes with a good answer tomorrow, I'm going to give them a can of soda." Meanwhile, he runs home and he looks it up. Just saying, it was a great question. I don't know the answer. No. Okay, fine. This Rebbe, famous pasuk, our feet were standing at the gateways to Yerushalayim. Who helped our feet to be successful in war? Rabbi Isai, in war. The gates of Yerushalayim, that in other words, the people that were learning Torah, they're the ones that helped the war. I loved, David HaMelech says, I was happy when they said, let's go to the Beis HaMikdash. What does that mean? It's sad. I heard people say, I can't wait until this old man. I can't imagine it. If I was in the time of David HaMelech, I'm thinking to myself, everybody's thinking to themselves, David HaMelech, I would pay $1 million to see David HaMelech, to sit with him for 2 minutes. But even in the generation of David HaMelech, people say, that old man, that old fool, when is he going to die already? I can't wait until I could go to the Beis HaMikdash. I want to be in the Beis HaMikdash. Everybody knew that David HaMelech can't build the Beis HaMikdash. It's his son, Shlomo, is going to build. V'samachti, and I was still happy when people said that. Omar like Baruch Hu, ki tov yom b'chatzerecha me'olef. So I was once, I'm going to tell you, I was once in a basketball game. It happened to be a Bulls game. And I looked at my sons and I said, let's learn some Torah in the middle of the game. And I pulled out this Gemara right here. Told him this Gemara, I think it's a beautiful Gemara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells David HaMelech, ki tov yom b'chatzerecha me'olef. What does that mean? Toivli yom echad sha'ata oisek b'Torah lefonai. One day of you, David HaMelech, learning Torah is more valuable to me me'elef oilos from 1,000 korbanos. Oila? Shasit shlema bincha lahakriv lefonai al gabei mizbeach. You hear what's going on here? One day of Torah, one daf of Gemara is more valuable to me than 1,000 korbanos on the Beis HaMikdash and the Mizbeach. Don't worry about those people that say, oh, I can't wait for the Beis HaMikdash. You learning is more important to me than anything else. The Mishnah says that there's special roadways to get. We're holding on the bottom, last few words on Amud Aleph, Amud Aleph. Special ways to get to the Ir Miklat, special roads were built. Tanya Rebbe Lezer ben Yaakov Omer, Miklat hayakasav al parashas drachim. Check this out. We have a bit of a chart here. There were signs that said on the way, here's the Ir Miklat. So that the murderer will stay there and he'll know how to get there. So the question is, anybody ever noticed that there's no signage that says in Eretz Yisrael, this is the way to the Beis HaMikdash? It only says, this is the way to the Ir Miklat. The Paravaturov went to the Chazanish and he cried to the Chazanish. He says, I don't understand why I have such a hard time building Panovitz Yeshiva. I have to go to America dozens of times. And when they opened up Bar-Ilan University, in 2 minutes, they were able to raise millions of dollars, all these donors from around the world, university in Israel, of course, blah, blah, blah. So Chazanish told him, it's a special thing that you have to go to America and raise money. People need to talk about your yeshiva. People need to hear about it. I said a few stories about communities. We had a story of a person that was not religious at all, but he gave money to the rabbi used to come and ask for money for yeshiva, and he gave money to yeshiva. It brought awareness in America and around the world about the idea of yeshiva. Certain things you need to talk about, certain things you don't talk about. Miklat, Ir Miklat, about a guy. You don't want any kid asking, why did he ask directions to the Ir Miklat? Oh, he murdered somebody. Stay. You don't want to talk to your kids about that. What you want to talk to your children about is, what did he ask for? Directions to where? To the Beis HaMikdash. Oh, Beis HaMikdash. Why is he going to Beis HaMikdash? Because it's Pesach. And on Pesach you have to go to Beis HaMikdash. You have to do Aliyah Regel. Oh, Tati, Daddy, when are we going to Beis HaMikdash? We got to go to Beis. You want people to talk about the Beis HaMikdash. So that's why there's no signs for Beis HaMikdash. But there's signs for the Miklat. Omer Rav Kahana, Miklat Yigaz B'Yishmael, Yakar Yitzchak Yivin L'Sham. Omer Rav Kahana, where do you see in the pasuk? My crow, Tochen L'cha Derech. You should prepare the way. Aseh L'cha Achana L'Derech. Rabbi Yisai, I got to say the sponsors for Amud Beis. Very short, don't worry. Not like Amud Aleph. Turning of the Daf for Nissim Adar Global, one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Innovations LLC in honor of our sons Kalmo 12 and Yisroel 9 for learning Sanhedrin and Makkos with Rebelli. In honor of Adar Global and Innovations, true role models of how to support the Daf and learning Yeshur Koyach. Says the Gemara like this: Rav Chama, how much? Oh, we have 11 minutes. We're running out of time for such a large Daf. Rav Chama Chanina Pasach La Pitzcha. Jake, just be careful with your elbows on the table because it shakes the camera. When he started talking about this sugya of a person who kills inadvertently and he has to go to the Ir Miklat, he would start off with this Haggadah. Toiv Yashar Hashem. Hashem is good and straight. That's why he guides the sinners on their way. He puts up signage and everything. And says Rav Chama, if Hashem cares so much about people that sinned, certainly for people that don't sin. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Pasach lo pischalai parshasam also. He used to say on the same sugya of Aritzach b'shaygig v'asher lo tzada v'li kim ina liyada. Oh, so this is the famous Gemara. There's a mashal from the Torah that from a rasha comes out bad. Two people killed. One did it inadvertently, one did it deliberately. Both don't have Edim. So what do? They don't do nothing. Nobody knows. I got away with murder. A guy's in a car accident. He kills somebody. He's spacing out a little bit, pushed the guy off a cliff. Nobody will know about it. He goes back home, goes to sleep, eats chalm the next day, everything's great. So what happens? You think you got away with it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings both of these people to the same hotel. There's a lot of superstitions by the non-Jews, like, oh, you can't walk underneath a ladder, or a black cat. A lot of them have to do, they're in Torah, in Gemara. 77 people on Zoom, so I want to say again, 78 people on Zoom. Shalom Aleichem to all the people on Zoom. It's a lot of people. In the middle of Chalamayit, I know a lot of people are on trips and this with the family. You're making time in the middle of the day to learn Torah. Ashreichem, Yishur Koyach. So, one killed on purpose, one killed by mistake. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings them both to a hotel. I'm not going to say any mishalim. This guy is under a ladder, hanging out. He gets killed like with skila kind of. A 400-pounder drops off the ladder, smashes him, kills him. The one that killed deliberately, he ends up dying, a misa b'dei shomayim sort of, and the one that killed inadvertently, everybody knows about it now, so now he has to run away to the Ir HaMiklat. I didn't see this anywhere. I just want to say my own little pshat here for 10 seconds, if possible, that there's 38 people on Zoom and 70 people on YouTube. That makes it 108 people on a live feed. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, perhaps, if you think about it, the guy who killed inadvertently and deliberately, they should have done something about it. The guy who killed by mistake, he has to do tshuva. Killed somebody. Yeah, I understand it's a mistake. But mistakes, they're avoidable, and you have to do tshuva. But he didn't do anything about it. He thought he got away with it. Comes the HaKadosh Baruch Hu and punishes him. And Hashem says, okay, how do you kill somebody from a ladder? I'm just throwing this out. I'm assuming he didn't fall 3 feet. You don't die from a 3-foot fall. So let's say he fell 10 feet, 15 feet. Fell. Ishmak. When he fell on the guy, what happened? He broke his arm. It hurts. It's not, he killed him and he walked away. He broke his arm, his leg. I know a few people that fell off ladders. I know people that died falling off ladders. In Israel, we had a few stories on Sukkot. People fell and died. It hurts. The point is that Hashem says, you think you're going to get away with it? I'll show you. Not only did you not get away with it, but now it's going to hurt you emotionally and physically. It's not something you just walk away with, crushing a guy to death. Yesterday he had a car accident, killed somebody, and 2 weeks later he killed somebody his life is a mess. So now he has an emotional stress and a physical, I'm thinking it, mamish hurt. The better way out of it was to do tshuva, go to Ir Miklat right away, whatever you have to do, but take care of it, because if you don't, nothing in this world goes unnoticed. So if a person does a good deed, he's going to get awarded in this world. If he does a bad deed, he'll get punished in this world. This is also a phenomenal idea and concept. Barry, I'm telling you, it came on an unbelievable day. You see this time after time. And this is for the good and for the bad. There are people who do really nasty things. And they say to themselves, Hashem is very happy with this. I thought for a second I might be doing the wrong thing, but Hashem is happy. Look, I'll prove it to you, because look, it's so successful, and it fell into place, and it's mamish siyata d'shmaya, this terrible thing that I'm doing. A kiss from Hashem, he says, about a bad thing. No. When you want to do bad, Hashem will help you out. Like that story with the Ganav. He's a big Ganav, so he comes to the Rebbe, he says, Rebbe, give me a bracha. So the Rebbe said, I'll give you a bracha that any person that needs to be robbed, you should be the one to be zoich to rob him. Now, if you want to be a robber, Hashem will make it easy for you. Yeah, go ahead. You want to be a millionaire, but you really want it, Hashem will help you out in that. You want to be a Talmid Chacham, whatever in the way that you want to go, Hashem will help you out. But even for the bad, certainly for the good. How do we see this? We see it in Tanakh, in the Torah, and the Nevi'im, and the Ksuvim. First of all, Hashem tells Bilam, don't go. Don't go to curse the Jews. Right afterwards, it says, kum leichitam, go with them. What happened? Hashem had a change of heart? No. When Hashem saw how much Bilam wanted to go, I don't want you to go. I'm telling you not to go. Oh, you want to go? Okay, go. Gesundheit, go. What you want to do, you do. You have the bechira. Min ha-nevi'im t'chsiv, ani Hashem alikecha. See, Nevi'im, I'm your God. Melamedcha lahoyel. I'll teach you how to go. Oh, and then the pasuk says, "Madrichecha b'derech teilach." But you decide to go a different way. I can't help you out. I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to push you in the right direction. You want to take advice from other people and do the other thing? That's your problem. But ksuvim, what do you see in the ksuvim? The chsiv. Im la leitzim. You want to be a leitz. You want to be a person. What's a leitz? We said a leitz is not a clown. A leitz is somebody who puts down important things, makes fun of the rabbi. He puts down an important thing. Oh, this guy with this chumrah, that's a letz. You want to be one of these guys who yolitz, you'll end up being a letz. V'la'anovim, you want to be a humble person, you're trying really hard. You said to yourself, I'm going to be a humble person. Yitin chen, Hashem will give you the chen. You'll be an onov. If a person is on his way, you have to insert it. If you have a pencil, you should write down. It doesn't mean he already went to Golus. It means he's on the way to go to Golus. So this is the story that we're talking about. The Goel Adam found him and killed him. Potter, he's Potter. So we must see the pasuk over here. This is important to understand what's going on here. The beginning of the pasuk says, "Penyudiv Goel Adam." Goel Adam is the relative. Chase the murderer. This person doesn't have the death penalty. Who are we referring to? We're referring to the murderer or to the relative of the one that was murdered? Because the beginning of the pasuk is talking about the top. Look at the top words. I really should put it. I don't know if Dave is watching. Maybe Kobe's watching. You could change the words Goel Adam, make them red. It's important because the third and fourth word in the pasuk is talking about the relative. And then all the way on the bottom, the end of the pasuk, he never hated him. He killed him because he didn't hate him when he killed him. In other words, the guy fell off a ladder. He didn't know the guy's below him. He didn't hate him when he killed him. So now we're talking about the murderer. So which one are we talking about? The relative of the murderer. The V'lo Mishpat Maves is smack in the middle of the pasuk. So we have a machlokes is what it's talking about. The end of the pasuk. We're talking about the killer. So you see that you're not allowed to kill on the way to the Ir Miklat. No. He says that he holds like the other Tana. The Sanya. That he's allowed to kill. The pasuk says you're allowed to kill on the way. So we have a Shiloh. So if you're not allowed to kill on the way to the Ir Miklat, so why do you go to the Ir Miklat? Oh, because once you go to the Ir Miklat, now you're not allowed to come out of the Ir Miklat. In the Ir Miklat, you're not allowed to kill. So when are you allowed to kill? When the guy comes out of the Ir Miklat. Maybe it's talking about the killer. The beginning of the pasuk though, oh, the Mishpat is talking about the relative. Tanan. Here, remember this picture from yesterday? I'll show it to you. You guys are going to love it. It's shmack stuff. The guy, the relative is chasing with the sword. The guy with the yellow hat is the one that killed by mistake. He fell off a ladder. So you send two rabbis with him. Why do you send two rabbis with him? Oh. So they could talk sense into the relative. My lad, the Masrubay. Aren't they warning him? Don't kill him, because if you kill him, you'll die. So you see, you're not allowed to kill a guy on the way to their miklat. Like it says. No, they talk to his heart. They try to knock some sense in him. Don't be a murderer. He did it by mistake. He wasn't reckless when he drove into the guy. It was a mistake. Leave him alone. Let the murderer talk for himself. The killer talks for himself. So they said, no. When somebody else talks in your behalf, a lawyer talks for you, it's much better. Don't let the guy stand up in front of the court and talk. Don't let the guy stand up to the relatives and try to explain himself. Let somebody else do. The Sfarim like to say over here, it says, that you say to a guy, let's say the family is very upset. Why did you kill my son? You ran him over. How could you do it? I want to kill you. So we tell him, no. Hashem has a lot of messengers. Hashem wanted this kid dead. So he had Reuven drive him over. It could have been Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, it could have been anybody. This was what needs to be done in this world. This is how life goes. This individual, we don't understand. We'll never understand. One day maybe we'll understand. This individual had to die. What are you upset at this guy that killed him? He's just like a stick that killed a dog that killed somebody. You're going to be upset at the dog? He's just a messenger from Hashem. You can't be upset. Only somebody that inadvertently killed, he goes to the Miklat. Not somebody that did it deliberately. Pshita, what's the chiddush? You're amazed about Golasu? What? If he's amazed that he's a Gol, it is a chiddush. In the beginning, everybody would go to Miklat, even somebody that killed deliberately. And the Bezin would call out for him. And somebody that deserves to die, they would kill him. But somebody that doesn't deserve to die, they let him off. They save him. And anybody that has to go into Golos, they would send him right back to their Miklat. Okay, so we have Pesukim for this. The guy that killed deliberately, he was going to Golos on his own. Why? Because they thought that it doesn't matter, regardless if you're delivered or on purpose or by accident, you go to your Miklat. They didn't know that that's not the rule. We got to go a little bit more, even though it's more than an hour. A city that's mostly murderers. Here we got a little picture of the mafioso. Once you reach a certain threshold, you go over 51% killers, because we're going and going. Every year there's more killers that come in there because they're waiting for the Kohen Gadol. All of a sudden you have a situation where a city is 51%. You have to put a sign, no more vacancy. We're done absorbing killers. He is dvarav. Okay, so it's a limud in the pasuk. The Zikneir, it's hard to understand exactly, but if you don't have Tamid Chachamim, then it doesn't absorb the B'in Zikneir. You need, the Torah says, you should go to the elders of the city. In other words, Tamid Chachamim, Veleka. If you don't have, it can't be Ir Miklat. Itmar, Irshem Baskenim, Rabami, Verbasi. Chadar Mikoletis, Chadar Mikoletis. So you have Machlokes, a city that doesn't have Tamid Chachamim. So now, very simple. I'm just going to say it real quick. The Torah says that there's elders in three things: Ir Miklat, in Egla Rufa, and in Ben Sura Myra. Is the Torah serious about this? Do you really have to have Tamid Chachamim there or not? So we're going to go through all three of them. We have a Machlokes, Rabbi Rasi, in all of them. One says, Koletes, the city could absorb the murderers, even though there's no Tamid Chachamim. Chadomer Koletes, it doesn't. Lamadomer Koletes has been in Ziknei or Veleka, it says in the Torah Ziknei. Lamadomer Koletes, Mitzvah Ba'alma. No, the Torah is just giving you a good advice. It's good if it's better if this scanim, but if it's not a Ma'akiv. How do you say Ma'akiv in English? It's not literal. Okay, it's not makiv. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. Virshem Yiskinim, Rabbi Ravasi, another one, Chadomar, Nasa ben Sorim Moira. Ben Sorim Moira is a kid that's on the wrong path. He's going to end up killing somebody because he's already stealing and buying meat and wine and everything, so we kill him now, before it's too late. So, do you need elders there? Chadomar, Nasa ben Sorim Moira. You don't, someone says you're not a ben Sorim Moira. The Gemara says it never happened. Okay, the Madam says I saw that it did happen. The bottom line is the machlokes is whether you need the elders over there or not. You need the word zikneira. It says in the Torah zikneira. You could make him mitzvah b'alma. We're going to repeat the same thing. It's just better to have. If not, you go to another city. Oh, this is a little gory. The halacha is that if you find a dead body between two cities, so you measure which city is closer, and you bring this calf, and look what you do to it. It's terrible. No? You chop its head off. The man is chopped off over there. And you say a whole thing, there's a whole... Okay, but the Torah says there's elders over there. Is it necessary or is it just a good thing to have? You do, you don't. It's only better to have. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day, have a good moed, yishkoyach for coming.